Well, more than 9 months into the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, roughly 220,000 people have been arrested by ICE agents. That number comes from new data shared by the University of California, Berkeley, as part of its deportation data project.
It also found that nearly 75,000 people who were arrested have no criminal records. These numbers give one of the most revealing looks into the Trump administration's aggressive efforts to rein in immigration.
NBC News senior Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley joins us to break down this new data. Julia, good morning. Always great to have you with us. So the University of California got this information. It was through a lawsuit, actually, that it brought against ICE. What else did it reveal about ICE's arrest so far this year?
Yeah, they've been able to get a lot of this information that ICE stopped posting publicly. Every once in a while, we'll get a press release when they have something they want to tell us about, maybe a high-profile person or someone with a criminal record they have arrested. But in general, it's been really hard to compile this data. So that's why this is important. Of those 75,000, they had no criminal record. But then there were also a third with pending criminal charges. They hadn't been convicted yet. So really a third of the 220,000 that were arrested between Inauguration Day and mid-October are convicted criminals. And this is despite the promise to go after the worst of the worst. It also shows us more about the demographics. 90% of those, roughly 90% of those arrested so far, were male. The number one nationality arrested were Mexican, followed by other nationalities from Central America. We're able to get a better understanding that there are more people arrested around the ages between 25 and 45. And this is painting a more holistic picture about the people who have been targeted in these mass deportation operations. We should say just because they're arrested doesn't necessarily mean they're deported. In some cases, people may have a legal right to be here and they're released later.
So, you just said the Trump administration keeps insisting they're targeting only the worst criminals. The numbers appear to contradict that. What is the Department of Homeland Security saying or reacting to this new data?
They're not, responding to this. They did not send a statement to our story, and they haven't responded to the data that's been out there from this project, and others have been picking up on this as well. But this does get to an underlying conflict that we're having when we are able to report on some people who are arrested who have committed serious crimes and were at large in the United States, but we're not able to get to the underlying problem here that a lot of people who are arrested don't have criminal records. And as President Trump himself said in a cabinet meeting last week, there are over 11,000 people who are in this country undocumented who do have homicide convictions who have still not been arrested. So that really makes us ask more questions about who they're targeting and why.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.